Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We continue with the tafsir of surah Al-Baqarah. Inshallah, this week we'll be carrying on from verse number 145. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the meaning, in the translation of the ayahs, and even if you were to bring to the people of the scripture all the signs, they would not follow your qibla, nor are you going to follow their qibla, and they will not follow each other's qibla. Verily, if you follow their desires after that which you have received of knowledge, then indeed you will be one of the wrongdoers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then continues, those to whom we have given those to whom we gave the scripture, the books or the book, recognize him as they recognize their sons. But verily, a party of them conceal the truth while they know it. This is the truth from your Lord, so be you not of one of those who doubt. Be you not one of those who doubt. So these are the three ayahs very closely related to each other. Last week we said, we covered the previous ayah, which was about the turning of the direction of the prayer, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the command to turn the direction of the prayer towards Mecca, towards the Kaaba. The Qibla changes towards the Kaaba. So when that happens, we explained in previous weeks as well that not everybody was happy. Not everybody was happy with that, especially those of the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians. Particularly some amongst Bani Israel, they weren't happy with this. And some of the hypocrites amongst who used to show that they're praying with the Prophet ﷺ, they were not happy either. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that even if you were to bring to the people of the scriptures all the signs, they would not follow your qibla. So this is a comforting to the Prophet ﷺ, that don't worry, they are upset with you. Some of them won't follow you. Some of them won't accept you as a messenger. They will criticize you. Why did you change the qibla from Bayt al-Maqdis to the Kaaba, to Mecca? They will criticize you. And the Prophet ﷺ, who is very keen for the guidance of every single human being, this naturally affects him. This naturally can affect the Prophet ﷺ. He may be worried over them, that they're not following my message, they're not following the change in the qibla, they're unhappy about this. But here this ayah comes to tell the Prophet ﷺ, to reassure him, to comfort him, that there's nothing wrong in your preaching, there's nothing wrong in your conveying of the message, there's nothing wrong in the content of what you are preaching, there's nothing wrong with you as a prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because if you were to bring, it says kulli ayah, but here the Mufassirun said, if you were to bring many signs, ayah here means proofs, signs and proofs, dalil. If you were to bring many evidences that this is the true qibla towards the Kaaba in Mecca, this is the true qibla, and this is a true command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if you brought many evidences, many signs, to prove that this is the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they would not follow you. In other words, it reveals two things about the reason why they won't follow you. It reveals that one, the reason why they're not going to follow you is because of pride and arrogance. Because of pride and arrogance. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly says here, or later on, and in the previous ayah, that they know this is the truth from their Lord. Said it in the previous ayah, we covered this last week. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the previous ayah, وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. That indeed, verily, surely, those who have been given the book, this is verse 144, those who have been given the book, indeed, again, لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, before it's إِنَّ الَّذِينَ, indeed, surely, with emphasis, and then لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, again, surely, indeed, They know that this is the truth. So the reason why they're not following you is not because they're not convinced of the truth. It's not because there's not enough evidence, there's not enough proof, there's not enough signs. The reason is because of pride and arrogance. This is the real reason. So regardless of how many proofs you would bring them, how many signs you would bring them, how many convincing arguments you will give to them, they will not. They simply will not follow your qibla. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this ayah to also give comfort to the Prophet ﷺ, but also to stop him from thinking that they will actually ever follow his qibla. Like to cut off that hope that some of them, not all of them, some of them, always Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions what? الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ. Those who have been given the book, meaning it's an indication that amongst them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about those who are educated, who have received the scripture, who understand the scripture. So more or less they're rabbis or priests or they're learned amongst their religious people. They, because this is the reference, those who have been given the book. The rest of the masses, the rest of the public are mere laymen. They follow whatever the religious leaders say. So the indication is that they who know the truth and they know the description of you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in their books. So therefore they know every prophet speaks the truth. They know this command is the truth. They will not follow you because of pride and arrogance, because they feel we have the truth, we have the right way. How can we follow this man who's not from amongst us? This is pride, this is arrogance. So the ayah comes to also cut off the hopes from the Prophet ﷺ as well as the believers, not to feel bad, not to keep on thinking that, oh, I wish they would just follow the qibla. Because this ayah says it, that even if you bought them, it says, although it says, the word it uses is bikulli ayatin, literally means if you bought them every single ayah. But the mufassirun say here it doesn't mean every ayah, it means many ayahs, because the signs of Allah are unlimited. You can't count them and restrict them to 100 or 50 or 1,000. It just means many. If you were to bring them many signs of Allah, they would not believe you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making it very clear that don't worry, don't chase after them, don't be sad on their account, don't be upset, don't be frustrated. Prophet ﷺ as well as the believers, do not be frustrated, because even if you were to give this particular section of their community all these signs or many signs, they would still not believe. Why? Because of pride and arrogance. And as I said, this is mainly with respect to their leaders or their religiously educated people amongst them who understand the book, who read the book, who study the book. It's regards to those. It includes their laymen only by extension, because they will only follow what their religious leaders say. Most of them will only follow what their religious leaders say. And this is a very, very dangerous characteristic to have. Not just, other faiths, not just Bani Israel or the Nasara. This is a dangerous characteristic to have for anybody, believers, non-believers, anybody, but particularly for Muslims as well. What is this characteristic of pride? The definition of pride, as has come in hadith, is what? To deny the truth or to belittle the truth. And to consider others below you. This is the definition of pride, kibr. To deny the truth and to consider others, they are below you. So here, what are these people doing? They're doing both. They're denying the truth because it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's the command, it's the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's speaking the truth, you're denying the truth. But also, in a way, one of the reasons why they're denying the truth is they look down on the Prophet ﷺ, that he's not from amongst us. Why should the Arabs who are not from amongst us, why should they get a messenger? Why would a messenger be sent amongst them? These people know he can't be a messenger. So both of these elements are included here. It's their pride. The definition of pride is what? Denial of the truth, or to belittle the truth, and to consider others lower than you. The Prophet ﷺ said, once a man was walking along in a new set of clothes, with a swagger to his step, pleased with himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused the earth to swallow him, and he will keep sinking until the last day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. This is on account of what? Pride, arrogance. Pride and arrogance. And this is a disease amongst many of our community today. Because what is the person here? What is he described as? Somebody who was what? Doing? Because of new set of clothes. New set of clothes. Right? With a swagger to his step. Doesn't it sound like a lot of people today? New set of clothes and walking with a swagger. You know, look at me. Right? Look at my suit, look at my new top, new trousers, whatever. This is what people do day in and day out. Social media is all about what? Showing off our material possessions, showing off, look at the latest thing I own, look at the latest thing I've bought, look how good I look. This is what social media is about now. Instagram, Facebook, all of these things which are out there is nothing but self-promotion, about promoting the self, about being arrogant and proud. Look how rich I am. Look how many things I own. Look at the quality of my life, right? Look at the expensive lifestyle that I lead. Look how happy I am. Look how many holidays I go on. Look at my cars. Look at my watches. Look at my latest phone that I've got. This is it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this person sink. The earth swallowed this person. Subhanallah. Which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not sending that. Many people are doing this very same act, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not sending this punishment now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not sending this punishment. Maybe He does sometimes, but He's not doing it right now, which means there's a more severe punishment waiting on the Day of Judgment. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, and this hadith was it's reported by Al-Bukhari, Sahih. The next hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the tyrants and the arrogant will be raised on the last day, as grain strewn under the feet that the people will walk upon. So those who have pride and arrogance, those who are also tyrants, the reason why they terrorize people, the reason why they act the way they act is why? Because of pride. You know, who's more powerful than me? Who's going to take me to account? Who are you? I'm the boss. I'm the king. I'm the president. I'm the prime minister. You know, I own this land. I can do as I please. I can throw people into prison. I can torture people. I can kill people. Nobody's going to stop me. Nobody's going to question me. This is pride. This is arrogance. And it's looking down on others. So on the Day of Judgment, they'll be made like grain, you know, on the floor, and people will be stepping over them. This is the reality of what they were doing to people in this dunya. And arrogance, as we know, kibr is the first sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by who? Iblis. Aba wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin. He refused when he was commanded to bow down. He was commanded to bow down. What happened? He refused. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in surah Al-Baqarah, earlier on, Aba wastakbara. He refused, istakbara. He became proud, arrogant, kibr. And it comes, kibr is same word that to think of yourself as big, right? So istikbar is to seek an internalization of you just making yourself bigger than what you are. Seeing yourself bigger than what you are. Feeling that you're bigger than what you really are. Istakbara. And then it led to what? كَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Kufr. This is it. Kana min al-kafirin. He was of those who denied the truth, rejected the truth, rejected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. And here it's about the command. Iblis, he didn't reject Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows Allah he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, "Oh Allah, give me respite until the day they are resurrected." So he knows there is Allah. He believes in Allah. He knows Allah exists. So he didn't deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did he do? He denied to obey the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he became a kafir. He denied to obey the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that was because of pride, and it led to kufr. Same thing here. This is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to turn towards the Qibla in Mecca, the Kaaba. And the denial of a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leads to kufr. Due to arrogance or pride, could be other reasons, but often is because of this. So the Prophet ﷺ also said, arrogance is belittling to admit the truth and considering people inferior, as I mentioned before. Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, arrogance is refusing to acknowledge what is right and considering others to be inferior. Same meaning. And then also the Prophet ﷺ said, no one with the slightest particle of arrogance in his heart will enter paradise. No one with the slightest particle, smallest amount of arrogance, of kibr in his heart will enter paradise. And the definition is there. I mean, some people may be asking, which type of arrogance, which type of pride, what is it? How does it manifest? The definition is there. The definition is there. Belittling to admit the truth, not recognizing the truth, to deny the truth, to ignore the truth, not admitting the truth, and to consider other people inferior. This is, we do this all the time. How many times have we considered others inferior, whether it's due to status or wealth or knowledge or occupation or country or race or background or faith, whatever it is. How many times have we belittled other people in our mind, looked down on others? This is something that happens often. But this is half of the definition of pride, of arrogance. It's something we need to work on and look out for. The Prophet ﷺ also said in a hadith Qudsi that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, pride is my garment and haughtiness is my mantle. Whoever vies with me, meaning whoever competes with me, for them, I will throw them into the hellfire. I will throw them into hell. Pride, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves to be proud. Only Allah, because why? People are proud of what? Of their ability, of their owning some goods, material wealth, of their beauty, of their lineage, of everything that they had nothing to do with. People are proud of every single thing that in fact, in reality, they contributed nothing towards gaining those things. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created them. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave them rizq. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made them how they are. Everything, alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's none of your own efforts. It's none of your own doing. It may seem that way. Yes, you worked hard for something. But ultimately, even after all your efforts, the rizq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Two people can work hard the same, but one gets much more than the other. Why? The rizq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only deserves and can be proud. And He says that when His creation compete with Him in this, He will throw them in the hellfire. Because you're competing with something that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Haritha ibn Wahab said, reported, Haritha ibn Wahb reported, the Prophet ﷺ said, Shall I not tell you about the companions of paradise? They are every humble person, considered weak, but if they gave an oath by Allah, it would be fulfilled. Shall I not tell you about the companions of the hellfire? They are every cruel, haughty, and arrogant person. Subhanallah. It's the character, we often forget, we become Muslims of the 5 pillars, not even that, but some of the pillars. Like if somebody prays, that's a very good thing anyway. But we measure people by, does he pray? Has he got a beard? What does he look like? Does he appear to be Muslim, etc., etc.? But often we don't look at their character. We think somebody prays, that's enough. Somebody does Hajj, that's enough. Somebody fasts in Ramadan, that's enough. But they may be the most haughty, arrogant, proud people going. We don't look at that. Look at the description of those companions of the paradise, of Jannah. He says they are every humble person. Humility. They are considered weak. Like by other people they think they're weak because of the way they act. They don't throw their weight about. They don't puff up their chests. They don't display strength where it's not needed. So other people will consider them weak when in fact they may be strong. But they're humble. They're kind of non-intrusive in terms of presence. But if they gave an oath by Allah, it would be fulfilled. They're truthful people. If they say by Allah, I will do this, if they gave an oath, they will fulfill it. They're truthful people. The people of paradise are people of character. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and praises the Prophet ﷺ that he's on what? Khuluqun azim. He's on a grand, vast character. And the Prophet ﷺ said, I have not been sent except to perfect the moral character. I have not been sent except to perfect the moral character. And this is what this pride is about. It's about character. And the character is connected to the heart. The heart is the place of character. The heart is the place of diseases, envy, jealousy, pride, arrogance, right? Desires, hopes, long hopes. I'm going to live for 100 years. Oh, I've committed so many sins, but no problem. Allah's going to forgive me, even if I don't do tawbah or anything. These types of attitudes, miserliness, being stingy with your wealth, desiring what other people have, these are all what? In the heart. Pride and arrogance is in the heart. So the major part of being a good Muslim, of trying to be successful in this dunya and the akhirah, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has to do with character. And the Prophet ﷺ said very clearly, the believer or the Muslim is the one whom from others, is the one whom others are safe from his tongue and his hand. Right? It's character. Your hand and your tongue is about character. How you deal with other people, how you speak to other people. Are you always angry? Are you insulting other people? Are you reacting? Are you cursing? Are you embarrassing other people? Are you cussing other people? Are you discriminating? Are you unkind to other people? Are you unjust to other people? These are the questions we as believers have to ask. These are the most important things. As the Salaf used to say, the people who are better than you are the people who are better in character. Those who are better in character, they related it very close to Iman. They said it reflects a higher level of Iman. If you want to know whose Iman is stronger, the one with the better character. And the Prophet ﷺ had the most perfect character. He had the highest character. If you look at his dealings, it's not just his worship. Yes, that was of another standard, of course. But if you look at his dealings with people, always smiling, never refusing a request. Just this, one of the scholars said, just this one sunnah, try and implement in your life, you won't be able to do it. Just one sunnah. That he never said no to anybody. They requested him for time. They requested him for wealth. They requested him for dua. They requested him for blessing. Requests came what? Every single day. He was the leader in Medina of the whole Muslim community. People would visit him every day with different requests. He's never known to have said no. If he can't fulfill something, he'll stay silent. He'll go quiet. But he would not say no to the person's face. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the character is the thing that can lead you into paradise, and the character is the thing that can lead you into the hellfire. So coming back to this, the reason why they will not follow the Qibla is because of pride and arrogance. This pride and arrogance, and none of us are free from that, and we all need to work on this. But this also exists in different aspects. Like when amongst the Muslim community, this exists. There's sometimes you tell people, you know, about prayers, about salah, is fard, about zakah or fasting. Some people will hear it and then just turn away from it. They'll still refuse to do it. They need to ask themselves, why is it they're refusing to do it? Is it because of pride and arrogance? Meaning, is it because they feel they don't need to do it? There's no need for them to do it. Is it because of that? And it exists amongst different groups as well within the Muslim community. One group, you know, won't admit the weakness of their argument in their school of fiqh or the school of aqidah or something, you know, because they're proud to follow that particular shaykh. They're proud to follow that particular madhab or school or aqidah school. Whatever it is, sometimes this pride can creep in there as well. Because of pride, I'm not going to admit that this argument is weak, and perhaps the other school or the other shaykh has a stronger argument. Sometimes this can also creep in. But generally, it can creep in all aspects of our lives, especially when people are told about the Islamic rulings on things, in their business, in marriage, in inheritance, in contracts, and they refuse to abide by it. It can often be due to pride or arrogance. Arrogance in the sense that it's usually to do with, if I follow this, it's going to be a loss to me. I'm going to lose out something. But the arrogance is there thinking, Allah's not going to take me account to it. Allah's not going to punish me for it here. What about in the hereafter? That's arrogance. You're denying the truth. The truth is He will ask you about it. He will take you up for this. So that's how the pride and arrogance comes in general practice, everyday life. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, He says, وَمَا أَنْتَ بِتَابِعٍ قِبْلَتَهُمْ, talking to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that and you will not follow, you are not going to follow their qibla. They will not follow your qibla, and you will not follow their qibla. What does this mean? Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is affirming the seriousness and loyalty with which the Prophet ﷺ follows the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also, just as He is cutting off the hope from the believers to expect the others to follow their qibla, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is cutting off the hope of the Bani Israel and others of the Prophet ﷺ going back to their qibla. He's making it very clear. You will not follow their qibla. This is affirming the seriousness and loyalty of the Prophet ﷺ in following the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no way that Allah commands something and the Prophet ﷺ will go against it. This is impossible. Impossible. So just to turn off or just to cut off that hope in the others that maybe if we do X, Y, and Z, one day the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he may turn back to the Qibla of Bayt al-Maqdis. No, Allah has made it clear. He will not. You will not. You are not going to follow their way. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا بَعْضُهُمْ بِتَابِئٍ قِبْلَةَ بَعْضٍ. And none of them amongst their two parties, they will not follow the qibla of each other either. Again, this is comforting to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As I mentioned, he's worried, he's concerned for the people to be guided. It's as though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, look, they don't even follow each other's qibla, and they are closer to each other in their faith. After Judaism comes Christianity. Christianity, New Testament is built on the Old Testament. Christianity's teaching is based on Judaism in terms of the continuity. Isa alayhi salam comes and says that he's a continuation to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It's a continuation, it's built, there's a clear connection to both faiths. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, look, they won't even follow each other's qibla, and they're much closer to each other than you. So this is again a comforting to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that they have been differing on these things for a long time. So don't worry, it's again nothing to do with the shortcoming in the way you're conveying or your message, or to do with you personally, is nothing. They will not follow even the qibla of each other. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَئِنِ اتَّبَعْتَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِنَّكَ إِذًا لَمِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you follow their desires, after that which you have received of knowledge from Allah, then indeed you will be one of the wrongdoers. Here, أهواءهم comes from the word hawa. Hawa is usually what? Desires. It's usually those desires, it's a strong desire. Hawa is a strong desire, extreme love to attain something that you want, right? Even if it involves some kind of great harm to your own self. You know, when you want something so badly, usually related to ishq, as they say, love, when people fall in love, right? Even if that person is going to be bad for them, even if that person is not going to be suitable for them, even if it means giving up X, Y, and Z, sacrificing this and that, people are willing to go with that. People are willing to achieve that. It could be in other fields, anything else as well. Whatever you desire so badly that you're willing to undergo some kind of harm for the sake of attaining it, this is hawa. And in the Qur'an, it's usually referred to things that go against the intellect, that go against common sense, and that go against guidance, go against hidayah. This is what hawa is. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, and this is the reason why, what happens with hawa is it goes against guidance and aql. Once you go against guidance, you become what? Misguided. This is why the people who are misguided are called what? Ahlul dalala, people of misguidance. So this is mainly the reference in the Qur'an for hawa. It's used in a negative way to describe people who follow their base desires in an extreme form, severe love of attaining that which they desire. And it always goes against the intellect, common sense, as well as guidance. This is hawa. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you follow their hawa, He's addressing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but He's just said that you will not follow their qibla. Meaning He's addressing the ummah through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The benefit is for us, the message is to us through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's addressing the ummah. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if you follow their desires, and then He adds, مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ, like after that which has come to you of knowledge, right? Especially after, meaning, it's like saying to someone, if you do this, even though you know X, Y, and Z, you're emphasizing that there's no way this person should be doing this, because there's an extra reason they shouldn't be doing it. One is this is bad enough, but secondly, there's another reason that this person knows about, he shouldn't be doing this at all. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ. That knowledge has come to you, ilm. How could you possibly even think about following their desires when ilm has come to you? Al-ilm here. With alif lam, they said, it's as though all of knowledge has come to you. These ayahs that were revealed about the Qibla, it's a few ayahs, but it's as though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that was come to you is al-ilm, with the alif lam for ta'rif. It's as though all of knowledge has come to you, meaning yaqeen, certainty, and wahi. These are the two things denoted here by ilm. Wahi and certainty. Like when you put this on one side and you put the desires of other people, their whims and desires, it's impossible. Does it make any sense to follow that? No. Wahi is certainty and revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has come. It's impossible after you receive this that you will follow that. It's impossible. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to the ummah or conveying to the ummah and drawing their attention to knowledge, to ilm. This is the highest form of knowledge. Highest form of knowledge is what? Is to be certain and to have the wahi. Revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and certainty. These two things combined is the highest form of knowledge. And this is the importance and the place of knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indicating or directing this ummah towards. That how could you go misguided? How could you follow other people's desires and be impossible? I've given you this Qur'an. I've given you wahi, revelation from myself. And I've given you the means to be certain, have yaqeen that this is the truth. It's impossible that you can choose the other and become misguided. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّكَ إِذًا لَمِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Like, if you know that I've described their way as hawa, extreme love of attaining something even though it will cause you harm, then I've told you that I've given you the truth from myself, wahi, revelation, and I've given you yaqeen. You're sure this is from Allah. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La rayba fi. There's no doubt in this book. If after that you were to follow them, then indeed there's two emphases here, several emphases. Innaka, indeed, surely, certainly, la min al-zalim. This lam here again for tawqeed or qasam, some said it's for qasam, but it's again emphasis that after all this, if you were to follow their way, you are surely beyond doubt from amongst the oppressors, zalimeen. Right? From amongst the zalimeen. Here is a severe warning to the ummah. We know the Prophet ﷺ is not going to follow their qibla or their way. But this is a severe warning to the ummah. That once you've received the truth, you've received revelation, you've received guidance, do not forsake this for any other path. Do not forsake this for any other desires of other people or yourselves. Do not forsake this for your own desires. We have hawa too. Do not forsake the guidance, the commands, the wahi, the certainty for your own desires, for your own whims. You know, you might not like something. It may be it may appear difficult within the guidance, but don't forsake it because this is the truth. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a very severe warning here to the ummah. And some of the mufassirun said, just in this ayah, before reaching this last part, and dhulm here is what? They said dhulm here is oppression. How are they oppressing anybody by not following the qibla? They are oppressing their own nafs. This is the oppression that's mentioned here, that you will be amongst the zalimin, is you will be amongst those who oppress their own nafs. How? Because on the day of judgment, if you're going to be punished, if you're going to be entered into the hellfire due to not following the guidance, then you are not oppressing anybody except for your own nafs, except for your own self. So this is the oppression that's mentioned here. And they said, Mina zalimin, you'll be amongst those who oppress themselves. And they said that oppression is of various levels. There's different levels. And each level, not following one command is a type of oppression. But they said, the oppressions build up until the highest oppression is what? Shirk and kufr. Highest oppression to the nafs itself is when you reach to kufr. You deny the truth, you hide the truth, you deny the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the highest form of oppression a person can do to their own nafs. They can't oppress Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they may not oppress other people, but they're oppressing their own nafs. And this is the problem, even in society. A lot of people will say, what's wrong if I do that? I'm not hurting anybody else. I'm not affecting anybody else, although they are. Even if it's whether you're talking about whatever lifestyle you're talking about, people often resort to this argument that what's wrong? Why shouldn't I be free to do this? Because I'm not affecting or harming anybody else. Number one, in most cases you are, if you look at the long-term impact. Whether you look at alcohol, drugs, the dissolution of the institution of marriage, those lifestyles, a lot of people say, well, I'm not harming anybody. But even on those things, basic things, there's harm in society. Yes, alcohol use is costing the society. People are paying from their tax. The NHS is paying billions of pounds every year to treat people with alcohol addiction. People are dying on the roads because of drink driving. Most domestic violence cases in this country, many of it's related to alcohol abuse. The damage that's done on a weekend, most of the admissions on the weekend in A&E is drug and alcohol related. So, you can't say, I'm not causing anybody any harm. It's just a harmless drink. And like that, most lifestyles which are prohibited in the Sharia, there is harm. That's what Sharia is about. Preventing harm and attaining benefit. Right? Jalbul maslaha wa dar'ul mafsada. This is what Sharia is summarized as attaining that which is good, beneficial, and preventing and leaving that which is harmful. So even if people can't find the harm that's in society, ultimately somebody might say, I'm doing something. It's not harmful to others, but it's harmful for your own nafs. If you realize the truth of the next world, the purpose of this world, then at least you are harming your own self. At least you are harming your own nafs on the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ وَإِنَّ فَرِيقًا مِّنْهُمْ لَيَكْتُمُونَ الْحَقَّ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ فَلَا تَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْمُمْتَرِينَ. Those to whom we gave the scripture recognize him as they recognize their sons. But verily a party of them conceal the truth while they know it. So these ayahs come as like an extra topic, if you like, because after these ayahs, it will go back to the Qibla. The previous ayah talked about the Qibla related. This one comes in the middle as an extra to deal with something on the side. And then it will go back to the Qibla. What's it dealing with? Because, people reading or hearing the previous ayahs and the next ayahs may be under the impression that, the people of the book, they are only blameworthy with respect to this topic of the Qibla. Right? It's only the Qibla that they're not following. There could be that misunderstanding or initial impression. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make it clear it's wider than that. And it's the same style. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَهُمُ الْكِتَابِ. Those to whom we have given the book. Right? So again, who are these? The priests, the rabbis, those who are educated, those who study the book, understand it. يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. They know him as they know their own children, their own sons, right? Who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about? They يَعْرِفُونَهُ أي يَعْرِفُونَ Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or sidqa Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that they know the truth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as they know their own sons. The simile here used is, reason is because fathers know their sons. Nobody knows their sons better than their fathers because of the close relationship, because of the close companionship, close association. Any father will know his son, unless obviously from birth they were separated and they never met, whatever. But normally, sons, nobody knows their children or their sons better than their fathers. And there's lots of other similes because the Prophet ﷺ lived and was born and grew up amongst them. They also know him in that sense very closely. They know he's not a liar. They knew he was trustworthy before revelation, before prophethood. They knew he didn't used to lie. They know he comes from a noble lineage. He comes from a good family. They know him very well. He doesn't have a history of making things up. He doesn't have a history of cheating or deception. They know him like their own sons. And one of them, in some of the reports it came, some of the people from Bani Israel said, no, we know him even better than our own sons. Because some of us may have doubt, is this really my son? This one of them said that some of us may have doubt, is this really my son? But we know the truth of him better than our own sons. Nobody can doubt the truth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is widening the thing here. It's not just about the Qibla, it's wider. They are refusing to acknowledge the truth of the whole Risala, prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not just the Qibla. Why would they accept the Qibla? It's the whole truth of the messengership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And وَإِنَّ فَرِيقًا مِّنْهُمْ لَيَكْتُمُونَ الْحَقِّ. They, indeed, a group amongst them, they hide the truth. They conceal the truth. وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. Whilst they know the truth. They hide the truth whilst they know the truth. Here, يَعْلَمُونَ is used. They know the truth. But before that is يَعْرِفُونَ. The difference is يَعْرِفُونَ and يَعْلَمُونَ. They said يَعْرِفُونَ يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. They say يَعْرِفُونَ. Ma'rifa is often used with something that you can see, recognize with your senses. Like you can see it physically. That the truth of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is so plain and clear and manifest. You can feel it with your senses, with your eyesight, with your hearing. You can sense the truth of it. So here, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they hide the truth even though they know it. And again, as I said, not all of them is talking about a particular group amongst them who are educated, who have access to the books and understand the books and study and know the description of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala re-emphasizes that verily the truth is from your Lord. الحق من ربك فلا تكونن من الممترين. So be you not one of those who doubt. Do not be of those who doubt like they are doubting. We as an ummah, we have the truth. We have the truth. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, there's no reason to have any doubts. Most of the people who have doubts today, even amongst Muslims, that we hear of, is simply a lack of studying, mainly. Not always, it's more complex than that. It's number one, it's often because we don't know our deen well enough. We don't know our sources well enough. We haven't studied the Qur'an. How was it collected? How was it collated? What are the stages it went through when it was collected? How do we know this is the truth? We haven't looked at these things because we don't really teach these things to our children. We don't really teach this normally in the evening madrasa or wherever we go to learn Islam. So first of all, it's a lack of knowledge. Secondly, it's to do with experiences sometimes. Sometimes someone may have some knowledge, but the way they've been treated, right, by their teacher, by their parents, by their husband, by their wife, it could be some other trauma taking place, some other experience which is leading them to doubt. So there are complicated reasons, but often the underlying factor is a lack of knowledge and studying. Once you study and practice as well. By the way, Iman, the yaqeen or certainty, Iman, faith, this only grows stronger when you practice. It's not just information. It's just not knowledge. It can only grow stronger, your knowledge, your faith, your certainty. Because they said amal is, Iman goes up and down. How? Through action. So it's connected. The more good deeds you do, the stronger your Iman. The less good deeds you do, the weaker your Iman. So it's very connected. So it's also, yes, knowledge, definitely, to if you have questions, to find out. And often it's wrong answers as well. Some people give the wrong answers because they themselves don't know how to answer that question. So sometimes you have to go to the right person. So knowledge is definitely there, but also practice. Practice is what strengthens the Iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed the believers are those who believe and have no doubt. Thumma, this word is used that they don't doubt, meaning there's a time through which, through action and good deeds, they remove their doubts. They remove their doubts. The more you practice, the stronger your yaqeen, your everything will become. And there's a lot of people, especially the older generation, they didn't study in madrasa, they didn't study in Islamic university, but some of their faith is unshakable. They will not be confused. Their faith will not be shaken. Why? It's a simple faith, but also through practice. Years of practice, they come to that yaqeen, they come to that certainty. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to really build our character, especially get rid of those diseases of the heart, especially pride and arrogance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as possible, and to strive for improving and strengthening our iman. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all on the Day of Judgment. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan.